And we are live.
Fanboy Modeling School.
To the Fanboy Modeling School. I am the Fat Mantis, now in HD, and I'm here with my man
Steve, also in HD. How the hell are you folks?
I am living the dream. I don't know how the folks are doing, but I'm keeping it very real right now.
You are keeping it very real, man. You're very good at keeping it real.
If only I could use these skills for something better, like holding down a job or a girlfriend. But keeping it real, I'm good in that department.
I keeps it so real. I don't need either one of those things.
Oh, right, exactly. Oh, look, we've got Roxy and M in the house. Welcome, and a bunch of emojis I can actually see this time.
I know, that's crazy. I noticed that.
Yeah, normally they're just boxes coming, usually from like an iPhone user. What is up, everybody? Remember, this is the Fanboy Modeling School. We hit up everything, all the news that's fit to print, everything on pop cultures, particularly if anything is happening in entertainment news, and then we mock it relentlessly or fight about it.
Yes.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, you guys need to know that we are two lovable DJs from Riz Radio. You can find us on Live 365. Throughout the week, you can catch me midday, noon to 4. And Steve, when can they catch you?
You can catch me Sunday nights, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and sometimes Mondays as well. Right? Wow. It's pretty crazy stuff right there.
I love it. Sunday, Monday jams. There we go.
Yeah.
We got Shaolin Iceboxer in the house. Nice.
My brother Shaolin just finished X-Men 97, and I was telling Mantis, man, this show should not be this good, man. But I've also been on an anime kick recently, man. Watching that show, Gaijin Jujutsu or whatever.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. That's
it's a jam. Cool. It's a jam right there.
But in general, I mean, do you have any honorable mentions, or should we get right into it?
Let's get right into it, man, because I think there's some stuff that we have to talk about that I sent you in Discord, man. That's fairly interesting to me, right? Oh, nice. And it's just, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you
take it back, you can't.
If you put a large device in the middle of Manhattan and said you can beam images instantly across the other side of the world, across the pond, if you were, would you be surprised if people started showing their tits and shit?
Literally, as you were speaking, my first thought was to whip it out. Yes, I'm speaking about my penis. For those who don't know, I'm very well endowed, and I would have just shown it to these poor Irish people who probably don't get big dick over there anyway. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. I think I assume you're referring to the OnlyFans girl who decided to show the Dubliners her tits.
Yes.
So this is why we can't have nice things, folks. This is absolutely why we can't have nice things. I believe there's a video. You sent me a video?
I couldn't send you the video because it would get us kicked off because you actually see a fair amount of side boob in the shot, and I'm like, whoa.
Side boob is the new direct boob.
Yeah, but apparently it's okay for it to be on Instagram, which I've noticed. I sent you and Shaolin in our group chat, man, a thing where I got kicked off of Instagram. Well, banned. I got a temporary ban for about a week. I couldn't post anything on the Hold Up TV for posting academics. And then I sent you guys a clip of a chick who's basically spread eagle on Instagram and the account is thriving.
Right. And so that's the internet for you, like on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. There's endless pornography there, but you can't. What did I lose my last account for? I told somebody that I would use my Second Amendment rights on them if they came onto my property.
Right.
And so I can't say that. But if I were to whip it out and beat that meat for the Dubliners and the world, Twitter would be like, give him the gold medal.
Give him a gold star. Yes, folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, man, recently a portal was placed in between Dublin and NYC. So a portal being a video camera that, not doing anything that we can't do right now, right? It's in the link out, someone in Ireland.
Like a big circular window, and really what you're looking into is a street in Dublin, Ireland.
Right. And some well-endowed woman decided that the best way to use this technology in the middle of Manhattan was to show off her chesticles to the Dubliners, right? And I'm looking at the front row, and it's like I see some silver hair, and I think it's a granny. And this is my honorable mention because it's not really newsworthy in the sense, but why are they surprised that something like this happened? What did you think people were going to do? Have meaningful conversations?
Right. We're going to sign language each other. They're going to talk about physics and curing cancer and share poetry. And that is utterly ridiculous that they didn't immediately think it would descend into some pornographic or idiotic behavior.
And as it should, man. I think people, given the state of the world and everyone just being able to validate their flaccid, lukewarm dreams, you should be able to do whatever you want, right? That's what we're shooting for in society, right? Do what you want when you want to. Maybe her truth was just showing.
Oh, yeah, her truth. That was her truth. She put her truth all over that window, right over the portal. The thing is, I want to live in a society where we're allowed to do whatever we want. However, enough people have, and I'm saying enough, obviously there'll be a few idiots, but enough people have class and sophistication that they don't do it. And so I think we all have those thoughts, right? We're standing on the edge of a building. We either think, I could just jump right now. Or we're standing on the edge of our building with our best friend, and we're like, I could just shove him right now.
Right. Right.
Or we're looking at a gateway portal leading to some other country. You think I could just whip it out right now and just go to town.
Yeah. I think
these thoughts pop in our heads, but we need to know better.
Right.
This is the problem with everyone nowadays. I'm going to tell you what the problem is.
Tell me.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready to hear the problem?
I'm ready.
The problem is the narcissism.
Ooh,
it is all about the individual. And I honestly blame the hippies. The hippies infested our society with this worship of the self. Where like an OnlyFans girls literally thinks the only thing interesting about her, or that the world must be interested, is her boobs.
Yeah.
Just like other people are like, the only thing that matters right now are my pronouns or my gender confusion or whatever the hell is going on, right?
Right.
It's all about them. It's not about the greater good or whatever. So, it's like I said, this is why we can't have nice things.
Bro, and I'm not terribly offended by this, nor am I surprised. We're belaboring the point, but I do have to say this, man. As an OnlyFans girl, that is the only thing people would be interested in about. If she, instead of whipping out her chest, pulled out a long poem or haiku and started reading, people would have walked away from the portal like, I didn't come here for this. I don't want to hear your thoughts on climate change.
I feel you. However, there is a third option.
Okay, let me hear the third option.
The third option is you could look at the Dubliners, maybe wave or something, and instead of making this moment about yourself, you could just live in the moment and maybe pass on. And go to a place or an internet site where people want to see your boobs.
That's a good point.
But not every moment has to be stolen by the class clown, because the problem is nowadays our entire classrooms are filled with clowns.
That's true, man. And everyone's unique. Everyone's funny. Everyone's got a thought, man. And it's
right, all content creators. They're all like
bunch of sad men with their podcasts and their mics and shit. Oh, wait. Damn it! Damn it!
Self-awareness.
Oh man. So look, another thing I want to get into you with, man, because I see it's not in the actual topic list. Let's just briefly get into X-Men 97, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's
Saving the MCU? I think so. This might be the best thing they've put out in quite some time, man. And in fact, they took the best parts of Fatal Attractions and the best part of whatever Homeboy's name is, the one who's the villain.
Bastion or whatever.
Bastion. They took the best parts of his story and other parts of we're gonna be honest about comics for a second here. 90s comics, as it's been stated before, high octane, big muscles, fucking fanny packs everywhere. Nothing makes sense.
And Bastion comes out of that era. He didn't exist before the 90s, so he's an absolute full product of that era, which is why he's such a bad villain. And also, everyone wanted Onslaught. Once again, Onslaught is a very not well thought out, idiotic origin villain. And so these guys kind of suck normally. And I got to say, I will hand it to Bo DeMeo and the guys over at X-Men 97. They made Bastion somewhat interesting. He was certainly a good villain.
Yeah, he was most certainly a good villain. And I loved all the cameos, man. I loved that T'Challa was there. I loved the Captain America, Cloak and Dagger, Daredevil.
Oh God,
like, it was just like, go ahead.
It's not just the cameos. It's that they understand the characters and what's going on. Like, for instance, Daredevil is listening to the TV in the window, and he does a backflip, and he pulls out a grappling hook thing to clothesline some looters.
Right.
And he's protecting his home neighborhood of Hell's Kitchen. Right. I love it. This man understands Daredevil. Just like when it cuts to Doctor Strange doesn't have any light, so he's using the light of his magic to do surgery on somebody.
Right. That's awesome.
And I was like, oh, this is well thought out cameos that are like valuable.
Yeah, they got street level, man. You got Cloak and Dagger, who honestly are too OP to be considered street level. Those characters should not be stopping burglars, right? If you think about what Cloak's power set is, that's a hell of a.
They're amazing. I gotta say, I really didn't get into that show that they had on. One of these. I think it was like ABC Family or something. It was too low budget for me. However, I do think like that would be a better Disney Plus show than some of the heroes they've been choosing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if they did real Cloak and Dagger,
yeah,
that would be the real deal.
No, it's crazy. They joined the X-Men for a little while there. When the X-Men had like open ranks, they were just letting everyone in. Shaolin Iceboxers. What up, Rogue Radio? And I call Shaolin Iceboxer, but a Shaolin Iceboxer says it was T'Chaka. That was an interesting choice. That was an interesting choice. I didn't realize that.
Hello, Rogue Radio. How are you? I didn't notice that until he had his mask off and he was talking to the UN or the president. And I have to say, I was offended by what he said.
What did
you hear what he said?
Yeah.
He said, I hope the American children have been paying closer attention to their school books than their Bibles.
Did he? I thought it was reversed.
I think he was saying that the solution of it is the solution to the meteor thing is science and not in prayer.
No, I'm pretty sure you got that one wrong, but I'll go back, man, because he was referencing how history was going to remember the president shooting off the missiles.
Right.
Yeah.
Guys, if anyone knows what the quote was, because I'm ready to be wrong right now. I hope I'm wrong because I don't want to think that way of T'Chaka.
Well, he was a deeply spiritual man. Was T'Chaka. But I really enjoyed every aspect of it. I even enjoyed the part with Captain America laying his head down. Again, Cyclops repping hardcore. I love the sentimental goodbye to.
Oh my God, that was so good. He said, "I don't want to do it like my father did," and he said, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Not say goodbye."
I thought that was awesome.
Last call to his son before he dies. That is a beautiful moment. That is absolutely a beautiful moment.
Yeah, seeing Psylocke was great, man. And then, obviously, spoiler alerts, when they jump into the future and the past, they hit up on a storyline where Jean Grey and Cyclops actually did travel through the future, and they got to spend time with Nathan as like a boy. I remember that story arc, man.
Obviously, I think everyone knew that, like, when they were in ancient Egypt, the lone warrior walking up with the mask, with the scarf, I was like, it's En Sabbath. I was like, it's En Sabbath, obviously. Amazing, but like, I will say I have to object to some of their cameos, and I'll tell you what the problem is.
What's up?
in order to make the X-Men look cool, they made the Avengers look like punks. So the X-Men are out there fighting the good fight. The Avengers are hiding in a bunker with the president.
So let's not allow the MCU to remix history, right? Because there was a time when Iron Man was a second-rate hero, right?
No, I agree.
And then the Avengers were being pushed on us heavy. Right. Actually, can we take a sidebar real quick? I meant to talk to you about your American heroes. I was going to send it to you privately, but I was like, what better way to talk about
before I don't know what you're about to say, but I'm ready to punch you. But hold on, let me really quickly tell you. So people don't realize that Marvel only made Avengers movies because they had sold the live action rights away to all their more popular characters, including the X-Men, Spider-Man, and the Fantastic Four. That's right, the Fantastic Four trumped the Avengers in popularity.
Yeah.
They sold Ghost Rider off. They sold a bunch of other ones off, right? And so they had nothing left, and that's the only reason they had to do the Avengers. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you remember the 90s cartoons other than X-Men, but they all, Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four, they all had them. Yeah. Their Avengers one was actually the West Coast Avengers. The regular Avengers weren't popular enough.
Yes, I do remember that, man. And here's the thing about that, right? I'm kind of glad we didn't get an X-Men, Avengers, Spider-Man crossover too soon. We're talking about the X-Men here. We're building up the X-Men franchise. We're repairing over 20 years of damage to the American and the world psyche in regards to the X-Men. And again, I got to give shout outs to you and Shaolin Iceboxer, man, because Cyclops did rep. He repped heavy. But what is up with them shipping Morph and Wolverine?
I want to oh my God, we got to talk about this. We have to talk about this. So everyone keeps saying it, particularly my most hated YouTuber X, who is, I'm not going to finish that statement, a delusional idiot. And so I have to say this. If you watch those scenes, it is clear that Morph is in love with Wolverine.
Yeah.
However, it is not the way going the opposite back. And the fact that YouTuber X is shipping them and making all these theories that they should get together, that is disgusting.
Yeah, what is the need for this, man? So now we're going to get into social commentary and all that stuff. But what's the need to make Wolverine gay? What is
so here's what it is. The shipping communities tend to be perverts, and this isn't just for X-Men, this is everything. You know Supernatural, right?
Yeah.
So there on Reddit, there are these very hardcore shipping communities that want the brothers from Supernatural to have a gay love affair.
Yeah, it's weird, man. And I blame Game of Thrones for bringing what do you call this? What is it?
Back into popularity. People are like, I want to be like the Targaryens. Maybe if I fuck my sister, I can ride a dragon. It's fucked up. I mean, we are living.
I think you might have just come up with a new dark room term for incest. Fucking the dragon.
Riding the dragon. You're riding the dragon. I don't know. I wish I could say I don't understand what's going on. I do understand what's going on, and so, but we live in the darkest timeline right now,
right?
Where everything goes, everything's trying to be shocking, everything's trying to be over the top. I do think that people, in terms of the show, if they think Wolverine is reciprocating anything, they're delusional. And what it is I think a lot of men in general have had this relationship. Stop me if you haven't had this relationship. You're good friends with a guy, and you start to get a gay vibe from him. And you're starting to feel that he has a crush on you, and he's your boy, and you love him, but you don't love him like that. Am I right? I feel like almost every guy
yeah.
And that is clearly what is happening with Wolverine and Morph.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, man, they need it to happen, but I'm glad that it's not like a heavy-handed thing on the show, man, because in actuality, Morph did that so he could pull Wolverine back from the brink. But so there was some convoluted stuff going on in the episode that maybe you can help me out with. It appears that Storm, Rogue, Nightcrawler have all gone back in time, right? And Cyclops and Jean are in the future. Magneto and Professor X are back in time. So I assume that Morph and Wolverine are where exactly?
Well, I don't know, but maybe they'll be in a different timeline. Are they all in different timeline, or are they with them? Will they end up in with Cyclops? Will they end up with them? I don't know. Because the question is, are they going to split the team into 2 time problems, or are they going to have multiple ones?
You know what else is really, really cool about this, man? Introducing everyone's other favorite megalomaniac, death worshipping villain, Apocalypse. Now, I am a huge Apocalypse fan, and I've said this on this show many times. You actually have never seen Apocalypse and Thanos in the same comic. I'm not even sure they know each other exists, but doesn't it seem like they would just have a good time with each other? Like,
I think they'd kick each other's ass, but I think they'd have a good time doing it. Rogue Radio in the comments says, yeah, that's the same with Thor and Loki.
Yeah.
I mean, man, I know Loki is adopted, but WTF? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was really pissed at you one day, man, when I went into one of your green rooms and you had all those blue-haired freaks in there talking about Captain America being gay, and I'm like, what the fuck did I just walk into?
It's more YouTuber X nonsense. And so, by the way, you know what YouTuber X said in their review of this last episode?
What?
They said, I'm so glad that, Apocalypse is coming in, but I have to say, Apocalypse has never had any good storylines, and he's never actually represented as a villain. Then they said, I know a lot of you Apocalypse fans are going to get at me in the comments, but honestly, the proof is in the pudding. He's never done anything.
What?
I'm deadly serious. I am deadly serious.
How does one person get to be so wrong all the time?
I sometimes wonder if I'm being trolled and this person is purposely doing this to aggravate me. Because I'm just saying, in the 90s, even in the 2000s, he has mad storylines where he's the king, where he's rapping.
Bro, his most impactful moment would be ripping off Angel's wings and making him into Archangel, right?
Yes,
we're talking about a villain that nearly took out the entire X universe, right? And then in an alternate universe, left to his own devices, the motherfucker conquered North America and
right in Age of Apocalypse. And then also he had his own limited series where they go into his whole origin. He has countless good stories.
Yeah, no, she's a moron, man. What up, Pony? Yeah, she's an absolute moron. But I really enjoyed this episode, man. I thought it was a great way to end the show. I wanted to talk about the OnlyFans potential scandal, which seems to be low-hanging fruit, which is either a real story or not a story. What's going on there, man?
So Bo DeMeo, the showrunner, confident black man, clearly knows his X-Men. He produced one of the best things they've ever produced in the MCU, X-Men 97. If you guys haven't caught wind, me and Steve love it, and you need to check it out. Now, he got fired 2 weeks before the premiere of the show. And no reason was given, and he doesn't give a reason. He's being what I think is classy. I think it's classy when you don't talk shit about your former employer. Right. And the rumor is it's because he violated the family-friendly clause of working for Marvel, because Bo DeMeo is openly gay and he has an OnlyFans. So here's the thing. I doubt that Marvel would look at the product he created and be like, he has an OnlyFans, fire him. That seems illogical.
Yeah. They know they would be stepping into it, man. And as much as you would like to see them take a stance like that, which is just like, because then it would be consistent, right? If it was a heterosexual black male that an OnlyFans and he's slinging dong at some white woman's house at 2 a.m., he's gone, bro. He's gone.
I mean, you're right. As long as it's enforced evenly. There are some rumors that the truth is that he's abusive to his staff.
Okay.
But I will say this. He has the fans on his side this entire time while the series has been going on. He tweets at his fans, and he talks to them about the episodes, and he gives them hints about the future of the storylines.
Okay.
And so he has increased his popularity since the beginning of the show, and he's being a good sport about the show.
Right.
I don't know if this is a scam to try to get back in good graces, get rehired, whatever, but everybody loves him, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be signing one of those what do they call them?
NDAs.
A petition
Oh.
to get him back. I wouldn't be surprised if that wouldn't be going around.
You know what the crazy part about this is, man? So I'm not going to go as far as like some other commentators on YouTube who are like celebrate Marvel for standing up for morality and stuff like that. Because in actuality, what you do outside of your work is none of my freaking business as long as it doesn't impact the messaging of it, right? He's managed to bring us a great property to this. A lot of people are saying this is fake news, that he hasn't actually been fired, that he's just kind of on hiatus. And a lot of people could be wrong. You know, it's the internet. I don't give a fuck about this shit. All I know is that when the season 2 comes around, right? Because I believe they got picked up for 2, 3, and 4. I've heard, as far as I just want the same quality of show.
Yes, they're writing 3 now, and it has been greenlit till 4, at least. So, it'll probably get greenlit more.
Oh, and then so I got something that might rev you up. Another honorable mention that has to do with Marvel before we get into. Go ahead.
I want to quickly real comment, and so. Not only do I not care what people are doing in their bedroom and keeping it to themselves, but honestly, as long as you're not hurting children,
exactly,
I'm fine. And I notice I put the stipulation that it has to be children, because this is like straight out of like the Kendrick Lamar situation. That like so many people are quick to judge people on their relationships and their issues with their significant others, and the truth is we don't know what's going on.
Right.
So, they'll be like, so-and-so, I heard he hit his girlfriend. The truth is, unless you were there, you do not know what was going on. So get off the brother's dick. That's what I just got to say.
Very true.
Until they're convicted of something, leave them alone.
Very true, man. I want to say this, man, in regards to the writing on this episode. Again, this is why I don't watch YouTuber X. I don't watch her at all, right? Unless we're covering her for the show or some asinine statement, is because at the end of the day, man, these people, by these people, I mean commentators like her, they were shitting on the writing of the show at the beginning of it. And the show has turned out to be great. Maybe it's not a masterpiece, but it's really, really enjoyable, right? And this is the type of writing that I would not mind seeing being brought over into the MCU. Now, speaking of the MCU has officially declared Marvel Television, right? They are going back to the Marvel Television format, which I think could and should work for them, right? Because at some point, the model that's existed hasn't worked. I haven't watched it, but Den of Nerds covered Kevin Feige apparently admitting to some not wrongdoings, but some failures on the behalf of Marvel and stuff like that. Are you up to speed on that stuff?
I do remember Kevin Feige making a statement about it. He said, you'd have to be living under a rock to not realize that Marvel hasn't been hitting lately. And
right.
So I was like, I thought that was pretty cool that he's saying that. Unfortunately, some of the things, and once again, they're rumors that are being reported on, so I'm probably speaking too early. But some of the things that are being reported on make me feel like he hasn't learned his lesson.
No, absolutely, man.
Like a female Silver Surfer, for instance, makes me feel like he has not learned from his mistakes.
And again, that brings me back to your girl, YouTuber X, man. For her to say we're all this, I said this before. For her to say we're all the Silver Surfer fans, stand up. Your argument falls apart when I flip it on itself when you talk about inclusion in regards to LGBTQ representation, because where were all the LGBTQ fans? Where were all the inclusive Black Girl Magic fans to go out and support the Marvels? And then someone will say something inevitably along the lines of, well, we're under no compulsion to support anything. You should just do it because. But why? What is the because, right?
Right.
What is the because?
And, I don't buy tickets for anything for just for inclusion. Honestly, if I was repping my people every damn day with a movie ticket, I would be at every Tyler Perry movie, which I am not.
Right? I won't be.
And so you know what? You can be Black, but you also have to bring it. You have to bring something I want to see.
Yes, absolutely. It has to be a good product, man. Again, really enjoying this shit, man. Really enjoying it. The only other thing
I'm actually kind of annoyed that it's over already. Like
I know, me too, man. I was really hoping that when they were looking for an Omega level mutant to bring Asteroid M in, I thought that would have been a great moment for Cable to rep with his telekinesis level being Omega. Obviously, I would have, now knowing that Apocalypse is there, also an Omega level threat mutant. And here's the one thing about Apocalypse, man, in regard to this storyline, man. it's going to be interesting to see how the X-Men or how the writers maneuver them interacting with a young Apocalypse, because he was a bastard even then. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, he was there was a moment of altruism that was sensed in that early story arc when they're telling his backstory, but that shit faded really, really quick.
Right.
Man.
I mean, he learned in the desert that the strong shall survive and the weak shall be gulled. Right? Yo, real quick, I gotta do a shout out to Screen Crush, man.
Yeah.
He pointed this out, and I can't believe I missed it. So when the president is going over Magneto's file, there's a part where he turns the page, and they have all these bars for his stats.
Yeah.
And they have like fighting ability, energy projection, and like all these things. And they're the same stats from the Marvel cards.
Oh, series 2. Series 2.
Yes, series 2, not 1, because 1 just had win percentage or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, series 2, and he had the same stats as the series 2 ones, the exact same stats.
I'm digging it, man. And you know what's crazy about this? And you were talking about the Avengers and the popularity level. Fatal Attractions leading into the next story arc, and I forget what the name of it is, man, where they team up the Avengers and the X-Men, and they were really trying to bolster the Avengers presence and like the storyline. It really is kind of cool to see the Avengers take the back seat. Like, I know you didn't like that they were huddled in the bunker, but in actuality, what is Iron Man going to bring to the table this early in the fight against Magneto? Just think about that for a second. Think about it.
No, but here's what I'm saying. He could at least be piloting the vehicle to get other superheroes to space. Like, he could be doing something. And so here's what I'm saying. I don't want them to steal. Here's what it is. I don't want them to steal the limelight or to steal the thunder from the X-Men. This is the X-Men show. Here's what I would like to see. When they cut to some Avengers, have them, just like in Wakanda, battling Sentinels.
Yeah, that would have been
looks
cool.
like they're trying to do something.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
You know what else is,
huddled in a bunker with the president. That's a little beta, man.
You know what else is pretty crazy about this, man? Because especially coming out of Hickman's run on the X-Men, House of X, and Powers of X, and all that stuff like that, man. When the X-Men take over, when they declare themselves the mutants as a sovereign nation, it reminded me of something that I think sometimes I can forget. Mutants are wildly powerful. They're like the most powerful randos walking around in the Marvel universe, man. You could literally have a kid who's like a level 2 reality warper. And in those situations, you got to feel bad for like the Avengers, because it's like, how the and if you compare that power set to what we've seen thus far in the MCU, Polaris, for God's sake, Moira McTaggart's son, that dude would wreck the Avengers from the MCU.
Legion, yeah.
No, not Legion. No, Legion would too. You don't remember Polaris? He was the fucking energy.
Polaris is Magneto's other daughter with the green hair.
Oh no, that's what's this guy's name, man? Polaris is okay. I'm gonna look him up. Proteus. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Right. And
bro, his power set, even though it's you have to be in the immediate vicinity to be impacted by his reality warping. Bro, he had more power than the actual Infinity Gauntlet.
And actually, I got to point this out. There's another great moment in the thing. I got to say that I would not have been this guy if I was Cyclops. I would have been shooting my optic blast, but instead, they're about to kill Bastion, and they're like, you know what? We gotta live Charles's dream, and they offer him a chance to surrender and to join them.
Yeah,
they're like being nice to a man who does not deserve it. Of course, he's so evil he doesn't take it. But I do not have it in me. I would have murdered him dead at that moment.
Which is also why I really love Wolverine stabbing, which was more impactful than what happened in the comics. I think in the comics he only like slashed Magneto, and Magneto was like, "Fuck that! You got too close on this one." I do love that he stabbed Magneto in the back. But I'm surprised no one's reporting on him quoting to Magneto one of the best lines from the original series. Yeah. The brave are always the first to die. And I remember that scene as a kid, and I was like, man, that's cool.
That is amazing. That is great. But, I got to say, this is one of my I have a couple of pet peeves about the episode. And one of them is Wolverine claws through you, just like a lightsaber in Star Wars should. you should not be able to recover very easily from that.
No.
Like Magneto, I feel should be even more messed up.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, you
But
did
he's on
just
death
have
row right now.
a foreign object go through your kidneys, based on where you stabbed him. But again, I loved it, man. I love that shit, man. And obviously, you should be happy you got your prediction right. Apocalypse picking up Gambit's card and saying death.
Still my Val Cooper one hasn't come true. I still think it's gonna happen.
What was your Val Cooper prediction?
I think she's Mystique in disguise.
That would be pretty badass.
Replace her. Because you know what? Val Cooper has acted super mysterious. As a matter of fact, Val Cooper, who doesn't really like, here's what it is: she works with mutants, but she doesn't trust them. She let Magneto out.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Very weird. What's up, Bex?
Oh, it's Bex in the house. We're just talking about X-Men 97 here on the Fanboy Modeling School. Bex says, #fangirls for fanboys. Thank you so much for stopping in, Bex. We are nerding out extremely hard right now, and I'm so into it.
Really quick. So in regards to the other topics we have tonight, man, before we get into that, man, I know you've been watching it. I know you've probably been screaming at the moon, screaming at the television. Your boy, Trump.
Yes.
Going through it right now. Going through it. Yes, no.
Actually, he's doing all right now. A couple of weeks ago, he was going through it, and I was like, "Is he gonna make it out of this one?" However, he's doing all right now.
Yo, it's so funny. I was telling my wife how biased the news can be. Like, if you look at CNN, Trump absolutely got creamed in court, and then you turn to Fox, and they're like, the prosecution actually got creamed, and it's so hard to figure out what the truth is. But in actuality, I think the funniest part about this is that he has to sit there and listen to it. Like with the category.
And yeah, he can't. Yo, he's not even allowed to. Apparently, when Stormy Daniels was up, he was muttering. And the judge was like, hold on. He's like, you're going to be condemned again if you keep muttering. So he can't even mutter. So when Michael Cohen came up and was doing his thing, Trump just sat there with his eyes closed, like trying to like meditate, trying not to yell at him. It's great. But the reason I say Trump is doing good, and I'm not saying in this particular case, but here's what I'm saying. He had multiple cases against him still pending, and all of them have kind of either fallen apart or being delayed on various things. Like, for instance, the one in Georgia is being delayed because he is appealing the fact that Fannie Lillis remains.
Right.
And they're saying that won't be cleared up until after November.
Okay.
And that's good. That's good for Trump.
Shalin says they say that man is falling asleep in court with his mouth wide open, drooling and farting.
Yo, I would be too. I mean, yo, you're in a kangaroo court, people. You know, you got all these crazy people. You got a porn star and a corrupt lawyer,
right,
up there telling their wild stories. Like, did you hear some of her stories, Stormy Daniels?
Yeah, about spanking him on his ass with like.
Before that, she claimed she went up there at 2 a.m. to the hotel room and didn't know sex was going to happen. Like, she claims that she was surprised when she came out of the bathroom, and then she wanted to make a note about the power dynamics, how the power dynamics were not equal in that room. And who is buying this? Like, who is literally buying this crap? And what I'm saying is, I am not at all saying that he didn't sleep with her that night. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the fact that she tries to play the victim is ridiculous.
What's up with the whole you remind me of my daughter thing? What's going on there?
I can't defend the man on this one. At least he's not showering with his daughter. Like Biden, so that, you know, which...
Well, how old was his daughter when he showered together, man? You know, you take your kid in there when they're newborn up to the age of 3.
It was definitely past 3. It was in her journal.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
Biden's not just a hair smeller. He does all sorts of sick things, and he's a sick man.
Oh man. Do you want to get into? There's a clip I want you to play and break down, man, because I got some social commentary for you. It's literally the first thing I sent you from Instagram, and we got to talk about parenting here on Fanboy Modeling School, and what you're willing to do as a parent, and how you would deal with such complex issues as bullying.
Oh, this one you sent me a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say something right now. Normally this is something that we should reserve for like behind the scenes, but I'm gonna say it right now. I wish you would send me YouTubes and not Instagrams because they're so small the audience can't even see them, bro.
Yeah, if the clip was up on YouTube, I would most certainly send it to you. So for those of you who might have children or have little children in your family, if you had to deal with someone bullying one of your children and you had parent-teacher meetings, you had met with the other parents, and that child kept bullying your child, how would you handle it? I'm going to tell you how one dad handled it like a straight up G. And this is the craziest thing on the internet right now. Yeah, go ahead.
Me and my brothers jump her daddy after school. I'm sorry. I know that was probably a traumatizing experience for you, but we kept asking you to stop bullying my daughter and you wouldn't listen. We sent letters home. We even had a meeting with you and your parents and you wouldn't listen. So now you know your actions have consequences. And since you too young to receive those consequences, you had to watch your daddy take those consequences. Get some therapy. You'll be all right. To the 7-year-old girl who had to watch me and my brothers jump her daddy after school.
Go to the next video.
I know that was probably a lot of y'all keep asking why I didn't fight this man one-on-one and why I got my brothers to jump him in front of his 7-year-old daughter. And the answer is simple. Life is not fair. You get jumped by responsibilities every day. Bullying is not fair because you're picking on somebody that's essentially a weaker vessel and that's smaller than you. So I wanted to make sure she saw what it looked like when a fight is not fair and you don't have no choice but to let somebody jump you, so she could get the concept of what she was doing. Sometimes kids learn from what they see and not what they hear.
Yes.
So I wanted it to be a visual experience, okay? I'm out here doing the Lord's work, okay? God is pleased with me whether or not y'all are. A lot of y'all keep asking why I didn't fight this man one-on-one.
Did he just say that?
He said that.
Okay, I do love that. Like, this everything we're talking about tonight, other than X-Men, is an example of the narcissism thing, right? Because like this is narcissism right here. He feels like he's trying to play it off like he's an educator and he's all wise. He's like, I wanted it to be a visual experience. What are you talking about, bro? You wanted to kick someone's ass because they disrespected your daughter. That's the truth. It has nothing to do with he didn't like he's up late and he's like, I wonder what an important lesson for this girl. Maybe she would learn something if me and my boys jumped her father.
But don't you think she's going to walk away from the situation understanding that there are consequences for your actions? I do the poison Gatorade thing personally. That was great. What is the poison Gatorade thing? Holy smokes.
Gatorade. Oh, wait.
I hope we're not talking about poisoning small children.
Pony says, damn. Poisoning the Gatorade of the dad or something. Which would be nuts.
My goodness.
But like,
this is a teachable moment, man, because like you said, you're picking on my child. We've had parent-teacher meetings. We met with your parents. We sent letters home. They did all the right stages of intervention, and something had to give. And in fact, conjecture moment here, I wonder how serious the other parents took this situation because their child's not the victim. So that bias, right, that implicit bias that comes to being the parent of the bullier, you're like, you have to stop this. But I don't think maybe you're putting enough stank on it. You're not putting enough stank on it. So he put some stank on it, and he gave her a lesson that her dad now has to.
So I am 80% for this man. And so
Okay.
I think the jumping is where it went wrong. If he fought him one-on-one, then I would respect that more. I gotta say, one of the coolest things, one of my friends who's normally doesn't step up, like he's not normally a fighter. He went to a party with his girl, and somebody from up top, there was like a little balcony area, spat down and it hit his girl.
Oh, okay.
And he goes up the steps and it's a woman and she has a man next to her, and he looked at him and he said, yo, your girl just spit on my girl. I'm either gonna box her or I'm gonna box you. You decide. and I think that's how these things should be settled. That is
right.
the way to go about that.
What did he choose? The audience wants to know.
It was. I asked. I was like, "What happened?" Like, it was broken up. People immediately jumped inside and was trying to stop the fight or whatever. He ended up leaving the party because it got too hot. But I'm just saying the fact that he stepped up and done it, I was proud of him. But that's the way you do it. And I'm saying this man should have walked up to him and be like, "Your daughter is a menace to my daughter, who's much younger. We're fighting right now."
Yes. Yeah, but again, life lesson, right? I loved how he phrased it. He was like, life jumps you with responsibilities. This is not fair. We're not talking about what's fair. We're talking about what's happening right now.
Okay, so I gotta say, he's not God. He's not the angel of responsibility. It's not his job to teach the petty humans about responsibility, right? It's just, I love how here's what it is. He's subtracting himself and his ego from it.
Right.
He feels like he's doing society a favor, right? Really, he just needs to admit, I whooped this fool's ass because I didn't like what his daughter was doing.
Wait, play it again. It's so eloquent. Play this part again. It's so eloquent.
And why I got my brothers to jump him in front of his 7-year-old daughter. And the answer is simple. Life is not fair. You get jumped by responsibilities every day. Bullying is not fair because you're picking on somebody that's essentially a weaker vessel and that's smaller than you. So I wanted to make sure she saw what it looked like when a fight is not fair and you don't have no choice but to let somebody jump you, so she could get the concept of what she was doing. Sometimes kids learn from what they see and not what they hear. So I wanted it to be a visual experience, okay? I'm out here doing the Lord's work, okay? God is pleased with me whether or not y'all are.
I guarantee her life lessons from this, man, if she cares anything about her father, we're going to learn two things about this child, right? Whether she's a sociopath or she has a level of empathy. Because seeing her daddy get his ass whooped is either going to teach her one of two things. Someone has to pay the bill, or she's going to turn into that loudmouth chick that's just like, I don't care, whatever I don't care. Like, you know the chick I'm talking about. Her boyfriend gets beat up because she's talking shit. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then she dumps him. Yeah.
She's a sprinkle type of chick, it sounds like.
Yeah, sprinkle.
But like, honestly, the only thing this girl is gonna learn from this experience is actually just more ghetto violence, where like violence becomes violence. And so it's another girl from the hood who's gonna beat up another girl from the hood, and not learn anything greater. Now, don't get me wrong. If my daughter's getting picked on by an older girl, one way or another, she's stopping. I'm not gonna do like what they do in the white suburbs, where they're like, let's have a meeting about it. And like, so because let's be honest, like sometimes the white man's justice is not justice at all.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I feel you, but I don't know if I'm gonna come out with like 9 of my boys and beat her.
Not even 9 of his boys. He had familiar people, his brothers, siblings show up. They made it a family affair.
That's wild. It's wild. I love, and he's like, God is good with me. God is not good with me.
He said, I'm out here doing the Lord's work.
God is
pleased with me.
Oh my God.
Okay, and then so obviously that was just to set the mood. So
oh, were you gonna say? Because I was gonna say I was about to show you a video of someone who is doing God's work.
Okay, let's see it. While we queue up the chauvinistic patriarchal video that Mantis has ready for us.
Oh, you're gonna love.
Oh, the feminists got him. They got him mid-sentence.
They got me. They shut me down. But you already heard the beginning. In America, you can be whatever you want, right?
Right.
Good start, right?
Right.
Okay. So here we go.
Beck says, "What happens if the other dad decides to get his get back?"
Which I'm sure is gonna happen. There's no way that's not gonna happen.
So there's one or two ways that plays out, right? Judging the guy that was in the video, right? I'm sure that when they had that little parent-teacher intervention, looking at this guy's tattoos, right? I'm sure he was already an inch away from being on top of this dude's head. I have a sneaking suspicion that there won't be any retaliation situation because this dude also played it really well, right? Because I don't even know if this is real. He just admitted to
Right. I'm
assault.
wondering. I thought you might have a follow-up story where he's arrested.
No. I mean, who knows if this is real? Like, he just admitted to assault on the internet. Not that that's new stuff, but there's no get back after that, man. Even if you go back and kill that dude, right? You're still a part of the internet encyclopedia of history. You're the dad that got his ass whooped in front of his 7-year-old.
So here's what I'm saying. Here is why I love Mike from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He's the old guy. He's the old corrupt cop who advises the crime boss, and he's famous for saying no half measures.
Right.
Like when they're about to do something, he's like, no half measures. He's like, what? He's like, only full measures.
Right.
And so what the hell does that mean? You do not just beat up your opponent and walk away. You have to completely eliminate them or don't fucking bother, right?
Right.
And so here's the thing. This is the problem with the violence, like jumpings and things like that. People think that it's going to end there, but it never ends there.
Oh, it never ends there.
If I got my ass beat in front of my 7-year-old, you better believe I'm coming at you.
But again, desperate times beget desperate measures. I want you to just stop and think about something for a second. Think about, if this story is true, the escalation that had followed through the school system to meet with a teacher, to meet with the parents, and all the while, the other young girl, the only real victim in this scenario, is being accosted by this child, right? You failed as a parent, no matter how you want to call it. I'm not punching down. I'm just telling how it is. Because if one of my sons got in trouble for bullying, I'm whooping his ass. And you know why I'm using violence in that situation? Because I do want him to understand that's how serious it is. You're stealing someone's peace by being a bully. You are stealing someone's safety and comfort, renting space in their mind. That dad, that mom, they should have made it a priority the minute the first letter came home. That should have been a priority. And in fact, if we're talking about ghetto shit right now, how do we know on the opposite side of this wasn't ghetto shenanigans on their side? That's what I'm saying. You need to let your kids know, because this could have gone another way, man. Why do you think so many school shooters react the way they do? From bullying, right? Yeah. You're setting the seeds for someone to come in and shoot up a bunch of other innocent kids. You know what I'm saying? Get your kid in line or remove them from the general population.
And trust me, upper class white people do this too when their kids are bullying and the school calls them in, and later on they'll be like, don't worry, I'll deal with my son. And this kid gets no ramifications, right? Because they're really like, my son would never do that. They're lying about him, clearly.
And then here's the thing, man. Here's the thing about it. I think that there's the presence of, if it was guys, it would just be, boys being boys. But there's almost a complete lack of response when girls, who are horrible to each other from a young age, when they're doing this stuff. Mean girls, prove me wrong, are 3 times the worst bully than the jock that's just beating the shit out of you. Not only do they go after you physically, they go after you socially. They do things to each other that are absolutely horrible.
Yeah. Peter Jordan, right? He actually pointed out that I love that he says that he's just like, men will fight physically, but women not having that in their, in their book of strategies, they try to destroy you in terms of like your reputation, and they try to emotionally damage you and all these things. And he points out that that's the difference between men and women. Of course, feminists got angry at this.
Yeah.
But it's true. A woman who is crossed, she will end you, man.
Yeah, well, they were just angry because they couldn't reach their Cheetos. That's all that was. Let's see what you got queued up here.
So, guys, I want to introduce you all to Valentina Gomez. She is running for the second time. She already had the position of Missouri Secretary of State, right? Mm-hmm. And so she won the first election on the platform where she was seen with she had a commercial where she had a flamethrower in her hand. And a hot topic in Missouri at the time was LGBT books in libraries, which people thought were going too far for kids.
Right.
And she had a stack of the books, and she said, if you elect me, this is what I'm going to do to groomer books. And she roasted it with a flame.
Okay.
Wins the election. Now, this is her re-election time. And this is what she put out just the other day. Now, I know I played it off like she's doing God's work. I am, of course, joking. Let's discuss, what does she do in this trailer? Let's watch.
In America, you can be anything you want. Don't be gay. In America, you can be anything you want. Don't be gay.
So Valentina Gomez is Colombian, or she is, she's Colombian, proud Missourians, and she says in her new slogan is "Don't be weak and gay."
So she's honestly, she's got some David Goggins energy going on. The stay hard shit. She's jogging with the weighted vest on, man. Yeah, so here's the thing, man. In regards to remember we talked about this one night in regards to immigration and stuff like that. I think that sometimes the Democrats and the Liberal Party overestimate their foothold in the Latin American community.
I mean,
because Latin Americans are wildly conservative, bro.
So, for those who don't know, I'm part Cuban, and all my Cuban cousins in Florida are more conservative than anyone I have ever met in my life.
Yeah, they're not messing around, man. This does not surprise me at all. That you got any more clips from her, man? And let's see what else she's got.
So that was the one I had. Let me see if I can find a flamethrower one. But
and so
why you're already impressed with her? You're gonna vote for her?
It's great. I can't vote for her. It's just crazy that this is where we're at with our politics. Like, even our politicians, and they probably were the first social media influencers. Like, I don't know what her stances are on anything other than she burns books and jogs with weighted vest on and says stay hard.
Yeah, what else do you need to know?
Oh, Rico says, welcome back, Rico. Cubans don't fuck with socialism, bro.
That's true. No, because they've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. Right? Anyone that's ever lived in a socialist country usually has strong feelings about it.
Okay, here's the infamous one.
Public library. When I'm in office, they will burn.
Her name may be unfamiliar to you, but this video is rippling across social media. This week, Valentina Gomez set books containing LGBTQ content on fire. She claims they're grooming kids. The St. Louis City resident is running for Secretary of State in Missouri.
Tonight, First Alert 4's John Kipper is hearing from the woman, setting books ablaze and vying for your vote.
This is what I will do to the grooming books when I become Secretary of State.
Valentina Gomez, burning books she says grooms kids. The books in question, Queer, Ultimate LGBTQ Guide for Teens, and Naked, Not Your Average Sex Encyclopedia. It's a strong political statement garnering many negative reactions.
It's extremely problematic, and that type of hate-filled rhetoric, honestly, it has deadly consequences in our community.
Brittany and Heather Dyer have been a couple for 11 years and live in Springfield, Missouri. They're especially alarmed by Gomez as she campaigns against LGBTQ books in public libraries.
DEI, LGBTQ, and critical race theory, and the second, running to office.
Obviously, the rhetoric is beyond hateful and bigoted.
They saw Gomez at this event at a Springfield library last week.
Before we get into her next, I have got a question, and I know a bunch of people will be like, well, "You're an idiot. What's wrong with you, Mantis?" They just said they were a couple, right?
Yes.
How are they an LGBTQ couple? Is that not a man and a woman?
No.
Let's run it back.
No, that's clearly.
They saw Gomez at.
One of them just looks like Macaulay Culkin.
LGBTQ books in public libraries.
DEI, LGBTQ, and critical race theory, and the second, running to office.
Obviously, the rhetoric is beyond hateful and bigoted.
They saw Gomez at this.
Apologies to all. This example in this stream is going well.
Event at a Springfield library last week where she can be seen holding 2 LGBTQ books. She talked to our sister station during the anti-trans book event.
I'm fighting the political machine. I am not backed by any special interest.
And didn't hold back.
Let's get, excuse my language, our together and pull up our pants and fight back.
Gomez is running for Missouri Secretary of State. Their main job is running elections, but also they're in charge of state funding for libraries.
I'm going to defund all the libraries that are having LGBTQ, DEI, critical race theory material in the children's section.
And while the Secretary of State controls local library state funding, the local libraries are primarily funded at the local level. Gomez, born in Colombia, is a self-described self-made millionaire. She's also a vocal opponent of illegal immigration.
Many of them are sleeper agents that will act against the public.
And in fact, she spoke at a November St. Charles County Council meeting in favor of a resolution aiming to stop legal immigrants from coming to the region.
We have to stand up and fight for our U.S. citizens.
After seeing the video, First Alert 4 reached out to Gomez and her campaign treasurer for an interview. We never heard back.
And Gomez is linked and also says she works at Nestle Purina. So he reached out to her employer, who says she does not speak for Purina, and says the behavior in this video runs counter to the expectations we have for our employees. Reporting in studio, John Kipper, First Alert 4.
So, so what are your thoughts, brother?
I mean, you know, she's another politician without any substance, right? Without any real. But here's the interesting thing about it. Man, these people really do know how to use the buzzwords and play to a base. All right, but I do agree there's material that should not be present in the children's section. I think American history, this is easy work for me, right? I debate her. It's just like, hey, so are we saying that American history shouldn't be taught? Or which parts of American history would you like omitted, right? What part should be represented in the library? What literature in regards to American history? And then they usually pivot to anything that's anti-American, but it's not anti-American to speak on America's history. That's a point blank thing right there, man. We're talking about segregation, Jim Crow, and all that type of stuff. That's not critical race theory. You can't let people confuse the conversation. You know what I'm saying? And I refuse to let a foreigner do that.
But okay. Actually, this is interesting because I don't think we've ever talked about this.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts of critical race theory taught?
Okay, so are you asking
the college level?
So are you asking me my thoughts on Fox representation and conservative talking heads of critical race theory, or what the actual curriculum for critical race theory at the collegiate level, right? Yeah. So here's the deal, right? It is not critical race theory to teach about slavery, segregation, and American history. I don't think that's
what people are arguing.
No, but they are, my friend. A lot of people, when they talk about that, especially your boy DeSantis down in Florida, they bring up key moments in American history where they say these things are being taught, and especially with the laity. I'll talk about the general population, where it's like they're making my child feel bad about being white. No one's trying to make your child feel bad about being white at all. In actuality, this is a part of American history. I say teach history as it happened without any added narrative, right? That's not critical race theory. Where I usually get into these debates with people is when they try to lump that portion of American history into critical race theory. And they're we should just stop talking about it. And I'm like, well, why? Why is it so important that we not teach on this portion of our history? Actually, it shines light on America and its glorious uprising out of the dark times of racism and bigotry. Does it not?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with teaching American history as it happened, or should I say as they tell us, because I'm a conspiracy theorist, and for all I know, none of this shit happened. This is all a lie to control us. But honestly, no, just teach American history. And I actually didn't know that people were just lumping slavery into critical race theory so they could get it thrown away.
Yeah, the teaching of it, and again, this is usually happens with the less than educated. For instance, I don't know this woman's stance on anything else, right? She is someone who migrated from Colombia to America, seems to embrace American values and traditions. So in embracing that, I'm sure you had to learn about America's history. So if it's about just teaching history, I'm fine with that. Now, if there's a narrative being pushed while teaching history, then that's obviously something we have to take a look at. But we can't just allow people to disqualify things that actually happened in the country, right?
No, I do.
Here's a for instance for you, my good brother. Should we not teach about the Civil War?
Why would we not, though?
Okay. Does the Civil War not paint America in a negative light?
Well, I'm saying I wouldn't agree with someone who said we shouldn't teach things that show America in it. So what? We're supposed to lie? Like if we lose a war, we say we didn't lose a war? Like that's nuts.
Oh, well, I mean, here's another for instance, and you're not on the hot seat for this. Don't feel compelled to answer on behalf of these people, right? If we omitted everything that America did as a government, I'm not even talking about the American population. If we just omitted everything we did as a government, does that make us pro-America? We know that America's done dirty war, Cold War, all types of stuff, man.
I feel like an adult has to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
Then every government, stable, successful government, has done some grimy things.
Yes.
To get where it's at, and so just like life, right?
Yeah.
Just like life.
Bro, if you're even if you're just teaching on the local history of your state, I'm fine with that. Teach the local history of your state, but teach it honestly and accurately. Don't omit anything. And again, now my response to her: what version of America would you like represented in the library? So that means To Kill a Mockingbird is gone, right? Some people might accuse that of being critical race theory, right? Is that American classic out?
So here's what it is. I'm a hater of critical race theory taught to less than collegiate. You know, like obviously in college, do learn whatever you want. Right. However, I'm talking about the real critical race theory and not just lumping anything that's racial. You know, don't teach anything racial. That's some scam artist shit, right?
How old were you when you read To Kill a Mockingbird?
I was probably in high school.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I read that book in the 5th grade.
Yeah, I don't think I read it before.
No, there's no way you read. There's no way you read. And you went to school in Manhattan. There's no way you read that book. Maybe you read it again and comprehended it.
Right. No, it's true. I definitely read multiple books again. No, you're right. The truth is, I don't really know. I don't really know. I just.
Bro, I was in the 5th grade when we read To Kill a Mockingbird. I think that was the same year I read the Iliad and the Odyssey. Was in the 5th grade.
Right. Yeah.
Would you remove? See, here's another thing. This is where this shit gets weird, man. Would you remove the Iliad from required reading?
Why?
Well, Achilles has a strange affinity for his cousin in that story.
So here's another thing I gotta say, and so I'm against the groomer books, but actual groomer books. And not something that is simply has homosexuality in it. Homosexuality is a thing. Kids, especially kids as young as elementary school, have to know that's a thing, right?
Right.
So I would absolutely not say remove that book. I'm saying the book Gender Queer, if you've ever heard of what's in it, that is an offensive book.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. See, now we're talking about being objective. Objectively, what a child should be exposed to, right?
Right.
That's not what
queer gives specific details on how to give fellatio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that.
Yeah, you don't start handing those books out into college, right?
Not even sure. Then Matt came in. What up, Matt Cat? Hail to the chat, he says. Rico says, CRT is a theory. America has not been taught African American history accurately forever. Most recent events, Malcolm X especially.
Yeah, Malcolm X is not a subject touched on in school at all. They do not talk about
Matt Cat. Matt Cat said, "Is this the Missouri lady?" Yes, it is. So wait, you feel that you know what it is? I don't know what's going on in America. I can only say what happened in my schooling. I mean, I feel like I learned a lot of African American history in school. In New York school.
I won't say I learned a lot of, like, I didn't know who Du Bois was until like I was an adult. Like, I may have learned his name, but I didn't understand the works and things that he had written. Obviously didn't learn about Malcolm X in school and stuff like that. Didn't learn about Pan-Africanism in school and in regards to African American history. So obviously I didn't know about anything in regards to the Tulsa massacres and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that children, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old should learn about those things, but you can't lump those things into critical race theory when you're teaching about an event in history. I'll tell you what I did learn about, and it was no issue me learning about it in IS 44, which I most certainly learned about it. So that would have put 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Learned about the Holocaust. Yeah, that.
But I'm saying you didn't learn about slavery.
About slavery, I learned that
the horrors of slavery.
I learned that there were slaves. I didn't learn about the actual impact of it. Now, I won't say that it was because my teachers weren't. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. It's funny. I went to an after-school program right over on Broadway. I want to say like 112th, 113th in Broadway. And I had a teacher who's from Brazil, and he was talking about slavery, and he was taken back by how much I knew. I learned it from my stepdad. He's like, "Does anyone know the history of the auction block in regards to slavery?" He said it with a very thick Portuguese accent, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I know about all that stuff." And I got up there and I started teaching it, and I just remember all the kids looking at me crazy as if I was making this shit up. And he's like, "No, Steven's 100% accurate. Right. That is what happened." And so I learned about it the way that most of my contemporaries learned about it. I learned about it from my family. And then I had to go do my own personal research. And that's when I found out about revisionist history. The first time that term was used, like the real revisionist history, I'll never forget. I was watching a documentary on like the History Channel, and they're down in the Deep South, and they're talking to this white woman in the South, and she's like, "Well, we had, the way we did slavery here was they was more like family, right? There was a big old, this is a direct quote, man. She's like, there was a big old black woman that came to our church, and she, we treated her like one of our best pets." And I was like, "What the fuck did you just say?"
Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't learn about that shit until later. But again, Gomez is another non-substance politician. Is she talking about some things that need to be accurately talked about? Yeah, I don't want my 6-year-old kid learning about fellatio, whether it's gay people doing it or it's heterosexual people doing it. My kid should not be learning about that shit in school, man. Period, point blank.
Matt says, I read Mockingbird in the 5th grade. Okay. I guess I'm either remembering wrong or whatever. I don't know.
Matt, I'll do you one better. Being the little militant bastard I used to be, they had us write reports on historic figures in America, and I wrote mine on Malcolm X, and my teacher rejected it and made me write about Martin Luther King.
Oh, because it's Malcolm X?
Yeah, and that's when my kufi went into full Super Saiyan mode. I was like, what? But again,
says, I read the book freshman year.
So again, I just want American history taught accurately. To answer your questions in regard to critical race theory, critical race theory is a college level conversational point that happens in college in regards to why racial dynamics are the way that they are. And it is a theory, right? It is a theory, and it is just another part of collegiate level scholastics. That's in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I absolutely agree.
You like this Gomez chick because you want to bang her.
Well, I certainly do. But I like her no-nonsense way. I also like her accent. I also like her face. Bodie says, I was in private school, and they had us read A Killing Mockingbird in freshman year.
Yeah.
What up, Team Miz?
What up, Tim?
Matt Cat says, first off, love this Gomez woman. Exactly. Right now, we have to, basically, both sides, or I guess there's more than two sides, but they pretend there's only two. You have to gravitate toward extreme politicians.
Right.
Like she said. Right? Like she said, don't be weak and gay. You get it?
I don't think that's what she was talking about, but I'm with you.
Do I need to show you the video again? Matt says, second, it's crazy you guys weren't taught about Malcolm X and slavery. I learned all that stuff and the Holocaust. Yeah, I definitely.
So
I admit they didn't. They kind of like brushed over Malcolm X. I agree with you. I didn't really. It wasn't.
But you have to take into account where I went to school. I went to IS-44 Natural History Museum School. Man, my school was ruled by a certain demographic, right? And they were not going to have any anti-Semitic.
Right.
Or what they perceived. Yeah.
Perceived Malcolm X as, yeah. I mean, that's our side for you. But yeah, no, here. Because I'm sure that you're not sure what's going on about my boo.
Who? Gomez?
Gomez.
Oh yeah.
We'll just watch this again.
America, you can be anything you want. Don't be gay.
She's still yo, dude.
In America, you can be anything you want. Don't be gay.
No, do me a favor. Look up David Goggins, man. That she stole that man's whole act and put it up there. Rico said, "I bet she cooked good."
That's what I'm saying. If she's not a trad wife, then I don't know. I don't know.
Well, if she was a trad wife, what the hell is she doing outside? Shouldn't she be, baking up something tasty? Not telling me her political views?
So Goggins is also okay.
Right? I mean,
you're saying he speaks like her? David
no,
Goggins?
she speaks like him, man. He's the one that came up with that term. Pause. Stay hard, man.
Stay hard. Yeah, it's funny that she's like, "Don't be weak and gay. Stay hard." I'm like, what is all this sex talk? Rico says they don't teach Malcolm X in school. He spoke way too much about the truth to explain all the accurate to everybody.
Let me see if I can find my boy Goggins, man. This is my
I
guy.
like when this Gomez chick tells haters to pull up, and she's got a big ass gun. Hell yeah, yeah. Honestly, I'm into her thing.
Right.
And you're unimpressed.
I'm not impressed by these fucking shenanigans, man. Because here's the thing: she's just trying to get elected to office, man. If she was really about that trad wife, conservative life, man, she would be talking about chastity, right? She would be not the stripper. She would be talking about she would be talking about traditional values such as being poised and calm, non-confrontational. These are things I would call her on. I always tell people, I'm going to call you on your worldview, right? I'm going to pull you to your worldview.
So this is a great sequitur to another video I have.
Go for it.
But okay. So as long as we're talking about trad wives things, apparently the kicker to the Chiefs spoke at a graduation, and he caused a lot of havoc. People lost their collective minds.
I mean, and look at her assault gear. Clearly, she's not doing any drills. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not enough dirt on there, man. I'm not seeing any.
Obviously, she's wearing. I agree. She's wearing that as a gimmick, right?
Let's see what you got.
Let me see. Okay, here we go. Sorry.
You should be sorry. It's a lot of dead air, you son of a bitch.
It's your job to make the dead air go away. So I don't know. I don't even know what you're doing right now. Slacker.
I can't believe you thought that. You were like, how are they an LGBTQ company?
That honestly, that's gonna get me in trouble. People are
no, but that makes you the most highly enlightened person on the internet. You saw that person as they want to be perceived. Shout out to you.
I'm not wearing my glasses. That's what really what's going on, so.
Oh, it's my little. It's this chick cracks me up, man.
Yeah, we love her.
We'll be graduating on this day. Let's watch.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2024, you are sitting at the edge of the rest of your lives. Each of you has the potential to leave a legacy that transcends yourselves and this era of human existence. In the small ways, by living out your vocation, you will ensure that God's church continues and the world is enlightened by your example. For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school,
Matt, we see you, bro.
would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
Okay. Yo, let me jump right into it, man. In case you don't know, he's speaking at a particular type of school, man, with a particular type of worldview, and this man is being 100% consistent in his worldview and speaking to his target audience, and I have no issue with him doing that. If you allow someone to stand up at Columbia and speak to their feminist views in front of an entire Columbia congregation, because that's what they are, they're a small cult religion, right? No one bats an eye. You have a guy who speaks to his worldview and just completely big ups his wife for being the foundation in his life. And all you hear is that he said because she chose her vocation, and he used the word chose her vocation, and you're looking for hate in this? Get the fuck out of here.
Play that air raid siren, and that air raid siren is for you, brother. Because you are cooking right now. You are
that is absolutely, people will look for any reason to be offended. You don't like his Judeo-Christian stance on stuff. You don't like any of this stuff. Well, that's why you ain't graduating from that school. That's why you're not a part of that community. And it's okay. You go be a part of your armpit hair, having blue hair, having fucking community.
Yo, but it's true that if he were at a college and he were to say, fuck marriage, make money, be a girl boss, live the dream and die alone, people would, the public mainstream would love him and go on and be like, what a daring speech. But he said the opposite, and now he's a criminal. Rico says he just completely said, go the fuck back in the kitchen. I don't believe that's what he said, but I think it's funny that you see it as that. Letting women into politics was the worst decision ever, says Matt. Why did we allow it? Women should have the right to vote. Okay.
Well, maybe they
should. Does
he
mean shouldn't?
Well, maybe they should have the right to vote. They just shouldn't do it. It's funny because this is a podcast called Sheologians, and they are obviously Christians, and they're both theologically, they're well versed in theological matters, right? One of them is the daughter, Summer White, of a renowned debater and theologian, James White, and they were talking about the history of women's voting and why, you know, the nefarious reasons why women, some of the nefarious foundational reasons why women were given the right to vote, which was to split the vote in the household so there would be disunity. Before, the husband would vote, but the vote under the assumption that the vote represented the ideals of the entire household. Now, you and I can both identify the problematic, thought in that. Chances are that motherfucker was like tuna casserole, beating the shit out of her. He's like, he's only representing his views. Idealistically, the thought was that the husband, being the head of the house, voted in the interest of the entire family, taking into consideration what's best for the family, right?
Right.
But
and so,
go ahead.
It's funny is that this weekend, this is so funny that this is brought up because this connects right into my life. This weekend at Sunday school, obviously I have an option as to what I teach, but I decided to teach, out of all my options, I was like, marriage. I'll teach about biblical marriage. And remember, I'm teaching junior high school and early high school, right? Freshmen and sophomores. And I had to teach them the truth about biblical marriage. And as we all know, progressives or people who are like people who are into the world or are connected to the world, they do not like the things said about biblical marriage in the Bible, right?
Right.
And so when I basically said, I was like, at the end of the day, in a biblical marriage, the husband is the leader. The woman
Okay.
has to submit to his leadership. Yo, the kids, particularly the females, were rejecting this idea. They were giving pushback. One girl, smart, I have to say, she's super clever. She says, St. Paul said that, didn't he? I said, yes, he did. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. Here's what they call teaching the Bible in a full and robust way, man. The one thing that we always forget about is that a husband can have his prayers denied if he's not honorable to his wife, right? There's an equilibrium there where it's like you are the head of the household because God has appointed you there. Thusly, you should be following God's example in how to treat your wife and how to be a good father. And that's the part that a lot of feminists don't want to deal with. In fact, on a certain show I used to be a part of, I would bring that up constantly. I'm like, wherever you see one verse in the Bible, know that there is another verse that supports it and elaborates on the verse. And in regards to the verse, that the man is the head of the, headship and dealing with the status of the male in the home, it also clearly says, husbands, honor thy wives. Just read directly underneath the verse.
Look, I'm saying, actually, husbands are commanded to do more things than women are.
Yeah.
And they're commanded to do everything from provide to care for and to love. They are literally commanded to love their wives.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have to bring up one thing. The young lady that we're watching right now, right? So I'm going to give her the same smoke that I would give any other conservative commentator.
Black, because you don't believe that blacks should be conservative.
No, not at all. That's not what I believe at all. But here's the thing, right? Is she married? I just want to know that someone that espouses something believes and walks in what they talk about. That's all.
I believe she is.
Okay.
Yes, I do believe that she is.
No, okay.
But once again, I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. I could be getting my YouTubers mixed up.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff that is really, oh man, this reminds me of the Spoon days, man. There was this one guy on Spoon, I'm not gonna say his name, man, and he would just come into like the debate chats and like get down on Christianity and but he's terrified of Islam. In fact, I posted that in DaVinky's group chat one day. She had tagged me in response to someone said a question about Islam and how Islam should be approached by a Western understanding. I was like, well, here's the fundamental problem with the statement. Liberals are terrified of Muslims because they don't know what to do with it, right? They hate Judeo-Christian values, right? Judeo-Christianity, Judeo-Christian values, bad, right? Islam, Judaism, Christianity, all bad. But Islam in particular, they're like, but brown people.
Right, they're brown and they're oppressed. And it's like that whole that thought experiment when they were putting up signs in that town. It says Islam is right about women,
right.
And people are calling the police. And the police would come up and be like, "What's wrong?" And they're like, "Someone put up a sign that says Islam is right about women." They're like, "What's wrong with that statement?" And then they're like, and they have them on camera.
Right,
you
right.
are unable to articulate what their issue is.
There's like a cognitive dissociation that happens there. Thank you, the Abrahamic faiths, man. Like liberals don't know what to do in that instance, right? And the Quran speaks very clearly about the station of women in marriage, right? And there are portions of it that, honestly, if I'm being just intellectually fair, deal with the way that a man is supposed to treat his wife. So that's there in point blank. My issue with a lot of people and like the people I would encounter on Spoon is their point of attack would always be, I don't see how any woman can be a Christian. And they would go to what Paul said to Timothy in the book of Timothy in regards to women and teachers and things of that nature. And I'm like, well, tell me where it's an error. He didn't say beat these bitches at the stake. He said, I do not suffer a woman to teach to prevent confusion. And then what they'll usually do is they go to some Wikipedia version of history and they try to say, well, this is why contextually, but I think in today's standards, Paul would be okay with it. No, he was clear, right? Yes. In that time period, he was dealing with a bunch of high priestess trying to work their way into the church and sold their bullshit into church tradition.
Just as they have liberalism and the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Rogue Radio says, in a marriage, the woman can bring the husband back on track if he strays from God's plan and vice versa. That is
Absolutely.
biblical.
In fact, in Corinthians, I can't remember if it's in First Corinthians, it gives the only example that the Bible condones as divorce, which I think encompasses a lot of things. If your partner departs from the faith, like you have to call them back to the faith. But if they leave in their own shenanigans, you're under no compulsion to chase after them. Like if they turn themselves
the standard.
Yeah,
They turn on God, you can cut them loose.
Yeah. And turning on God, oh man, see, we cooking, brother. Turning on God can represent so many degenerative behaviors, right? Now, that does not mean that church has not been culpable in some bullshit decisions. Like I've heard horror stories of people that were in physically abusive relationships, staying in a relationship in the name of the faith. And I would say to those women and men, I would say particularly to those women, though, if you are sitting in front of a pastor who is telling you to stay and get beat and pray for your husband, you need to leave that church.
Right. Absolutely. No,
you need to leave. You need to leave that church. Separate from that man and protect yourself right then and there, because he has already stepped outside of the bounds of orthodoxy. And any Christian that wants to come debate me on it, hey, cam up. You show me the verse.
Let's have Christian debate. You know what? That's what I miss about Spoon. We don't have enough debates around here. Do you follow Officer Tatum at all?
Yeah, I do. I follow that psychopath.
So he has been covering this one pastor whose wife committed suicide. You heard about this?
No.
And so, check this out. But he's talking about how messed up it is. So here's the whole thing. The guy didn't kill her. It's not like there's some conspiracy where the pastor killed his wife.
Right.
His wife was 10 years old and he was 25 years old when they met. When she was 14, they started having an affair. He was married. By the time she was 18, he married her. He replaced his old wife with her. He was a sex addict, according to her. Before she killed herself. She stated he was a sex addict who demanded sex 3 or 4 times a day and sometimes involved animals and homeless people.
Yeah.
And then she eventually kills herself. And then homeboy has the nerve to tell the elders at his church that he is currently talking to a member's daughter.
So here's the thing. That entire eldership, if they have not taken action and called that man to a strong rebuke, is in deep sin. And I said it, man. I said it, and I stand by it, and I stand on it. Man, man, I'm not taking shots at her. I just wanted to know, man, because I've seen her around. She kind of favors this other woman that's on the internet, and I had to make sure I distinguish between the two of them. But I just want to know if she's living out her values, right? She's a social conservative commentator, and I don't have any problem. Get your money, man. You get that conservative dollar. I told you, one day me and Mantis are going to go full conservative, man. We're going to start saying some way out shit just to get.
Oh, Matt says she's not married, but does have a boyfriend, and she also is non-religious. Okay.
All right, so she's got the perfect pass. Spoon, isn't that the place that
gay girl Mantis was hollering at? Did I holler at a gay girl on Spoon? I mean, they're all gay on Spoon, so I guess. I thought you were going to take me with the fat chick. D, welcome in. I'm so late when I'm here. It's always a pleasure to have you guys. By the way, we're cutting up these episodes and we're putting them on Riz Radio. Steve, are we doing it for an evening show or a morning show?
Probably best for an evening show, but hey, you let the fans decide. Would you guys rather hear these rants in the morning, or would you rather?
Yes, exactly. So we're gonna be doing. Catch us weekdays, evenings, and we're gonna be the segments between the beautiful pop music that we play there.
Oh yeah. Also, we're bringing back Fanboy After Dark, but it's gonna be its own podcast where you can only catch that type of shit late night. Yeah.
D says, "Oh, Mantis, I've seen that. That guy definitely abused her." And I'll tell you one last thing that he Officer Tatum dug out a clip of him. He literally, this guy was so obsessed with his wife when she killed herself. He said he tried to raise her from the dead.
Yeah, man. See, these people need to be cast out of the church, quick, fast, in a hurry, man. They need to be cast out of the church. I don't have a problem with black conservatives. Here's my issue. Not even with black conservatives. It's just with conservative commentators. Same problem I have with liberal commentators. Do you really believe any of the stuff you say? And to this bearded Chris Evans looking fellow on the screen, shout out to him, man. And shout out to his beautiful wife, bro. You know, I'd be willing to debate any hairy-armed, underpaid, fucking angry feminist that has issue or took umbrage with what this man said, because it was actually quite beautiful.
I'll tell you right now, the reason why I chose this one, the only thing that put this on the radar, because I was that earlier today, I had a verbal argument with a loved one over this. Like that, my loved one, this female, was like, "This man's a monster," and I'm like, "He's a Christian, just stating his beliefs. What's wrong?" And so I thought it was a good thing to put up for debate and have people talk.
No, man. Listen, I'll start taking liberals serious in this conversation the minute they grow the balls to say anything about Islam. Until then, I don't take anything they say serious, or Judaism for that matter. Like the minute they grow the balls to say something about that. I wanted to see if there was anything else I sent you, man.
I think.
Holy shit, did we get through all the topics? Oh, no. So, breaking, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow gets release date and director. Do we dare listen to this?
Yeah, why not?
Are you going to be okay? I just wonder if you're going to be okay before.
Why? You feel like I'm going to flip out? Don't you?
Yeah,
Obviously, your goal is to make me flip out. We all know that.
Okay,
I'm already triggered. I'm already triggered. James Gunn can suck a dick. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm having too much fun over here.
Yo, a friend of mine just sent me a text. It's a meme that says she don't ever got to look at the bill when she out with me. I read it out loud. Damn. I like that. All right. So, in fact, last week we talked about the costume of Superman, and we were all disgusted by it. I think we were all disgusted by it.
I was so disgusted at it.
Here's another thing we're disgusted by.
Should I play it?
Yeah, play it.
We now know that the second film in the DCU will officially be Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which just got its director and release date confirmed.
Not the comic cast, man.
Okay, so let's kick this off with the director, as it's been confirmed that the film will be directed by Craig Gillespie. Now, of course, we heard the name before. There was still some doubts. There's obviously finalizing the deal and everything, which has now been confirmed. He is the director. Now, I have seen people bring up the fact that, hey, isn't this Supergirl film probably better positioned to be directed by a woman instead of a man in his late 50s? I would agree, but again, who knows what the choice here is and what the reason. I'm assuming it's going to get asked in the press round, so we'll find out. Regardless of that, though, we of course know the film stars Millie Alcock, who we recently saw in Game of Thrones House of the Dragon as the younger, oh man, I want to say Rhaenyra. Yeah, I think she played Rhaenyra. I could be wrong on that. It's been like a year. Whatever the case is, she was obviously the younger version of the character, and she got on the radar. And we now know that she is still set to star, and the film is set for release on June 26th of 2026. Now, this is about a year after Superman. Honestly, it's a little weird that they're kicking off the universe with a Superman film followed by a Supergirl film. Like, it's doubling.
Yo, it gets even weirder. I'm going to say this because, like, they have also during this time, they're going to release a cartoon.
Right.
Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
And they're going to launch a series with Booster Gold.
Nobody
These
cares.
are all random projects, am I right?
But again, man, being fair, when I heard that the MCU was coming, before it was the MCU with Iron Man, I was like, oh, okay.
I knew they were out of heroes. I knew they were out of heroes. Like, they sold the rights to all their good heroes, and like,
I was like Iron Man. All right, I guess. Hey, look, that worked out great, man. Are you excited? at all for the DCU comings and
No, I pray at night that it fumbles and that James Gunn reaches horrible levels to the point where like he hits alcoholism if he isn't already one. I want him to fail in every way, including his marriage, and simple shit. Like I want him to fail at shopping. I want him to fail at driving a car, not fatally. I just want him to embarrass himself. I want him to fail getting to the bathroom on time. When you're out at the movies and you're driving home, you realize you have to pee and you're rushing. And as you're walking to the toilet, you need to pee more and more to the point where it's about to burst. So you just rip off your pants. I want him to fail at that.
So you want him to fail at the pinch where you think you can hold in the pee, but you just get a little bit coming out on your khakis.
Yeah, really,
right?
I want him to soak his pants. And I want his mistress to be there because we all know he has a mistress who's probably a Thai hooker. But so if you ask me if I'm pro it, the answer is nah.
Yeah, I figured we get that one out the way, man, because the DCU is coming out with a murmur. But again, James Gunn has my utmost respect because if there's anyone ever watching X for a certain YouTuber, Grace Randolph, her talking about scoops or anything, I love that man always has the time in his day. He probably has her set up on alerts, right? He's like, as soon as she tweets, I got to make sure I keep this bitch in line.
Right.
So there we go, man. DCU.
Yo, Matt says, see, Mantis, I completely trust James Gunn with the DCU. Wow. Please elaborate, Matt, Cat, because I'm confused. He says I wasn't disgusted with the Superman suit. Okay. I haven't heard the name Booster Gold in at least a decade. Yeah.
Yeah. The last time I saw Booster Gold, he tried to sucker punch Dr. Manhattan and then got his ring shattered, which is just about surmises his character and his entire story arc.
That cat says I'm looking forward to Creature Commandos. Okay. He said, damn, Mantis. Damn, Rico says. Mantis is the proudest James Gunn hater. I love it. Yeah, no, absolutely. If someone asked me what's your identity before Haitian, before mulatto, before Christian, before American, before nerd, I'm going to say I'm a James Gunn hater.
And me and my wife Gomez over here.
Yeah. Me and my Valentina Gomez vow to ban James Gunn and all his bullshit. All his future bullshit, because we know he's just going to keep it coming.
To me, my socially conservative wife.
Now make me a sandwich.
Get off that goddamn camera.
But do it biblically because I love you.
Going down on the same concept, but again, we know that Supergirl will be different, right? Because of the comic it's based on, what direction they're going in. So maybe that's the thing here. It's kind of crazy that we still don't have any development on the other projects in regards to films, because I was honestly thinking that they were going to get something else out in 26, but I suppose Supergirl is good enough since, well, they made progress on it, so here we are. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what they have to offer and what the film looks like and what the rest of the cast is going to be like.
Because that's didn't go into many depths. So it has a release date. It's coming out. It's a thing. I love that actress. I'm glad she got an opportunity. For those who don't know, she's part of the new Game of Thrones.
Right.
But remember, they did this one where like the first season was jumping through time.
Yeah.
And so she was the main character for the first like 5 episodes, and then suddenly we got some ugly bitch, older bitch, being the main character, which I don't love. But I'm glad that Millie Erica found a job. Unfortunately, it was with James Gunn, who would hire literally anybody because he's a no-talent fucking idiot. He hired his skinny, no-talent idiot, possibly on the spectrum brother, to play Maxwell Lord, and that is absolutely not what you want. It's not a role anyone can play. There's a particular type that can play it. So just kind of shows you how James Gunn is a faithless monster who's probably a pedo.
Wow. And I think the perfect way to end the show is for a little bit of rumor.
You're skipping straight to the end. You can't handle this heat.
No, pause, man. The rumor mill, because I really want to see you go off now. So, The Rock, my Black Adam. Rumor is the MCU is in talks with him to play no other than Apocalypse.
I'm so fucking for it.
I'm for it too, man. Like, I think he could do it physically, obviously, but like I think he could do a great job as Apocalypse. In an ideal world, we would have a beautifully 2010, because that's when CGI was really good, like CGI level Apocalypse with James Earl Jones, if he was still cognitively able to do it, voicing him, right? Because I've always pictured James Earl Jones voicing Apocalypse, but I'm not mad at The Rock playing Apocalypse, man. If we can get the acting chops correct, get perfect delivery on the line.
They could, one of the things that is great is his voice, not The Rock's, but I'm saying Apocalypse's, and they can just modify his voice using digital stuff, because you can't really obtain that voice without adding somewhere. So, but I'm all for it. He'd be amazing. He's not a bad actor. I don't actually think he's a bad actor, and also, Apocalypse is like a hammy villain. Like obviously, he's gonna say crazy shit. So you don't have to be that
Apocalypse
good
is not a hammy villain, you fucking retard. Apocalypse is the epitome of everything alpha. I'm triggered. I'm fucking triggered. You parade out your fucking foreigners talking about American values.
Valentina Gomez for the win.
I don't think.
Hold on. When I say hammy, I'm talking about his lines are so over the top, where he's just like,
oh yeah, well yeah, he's definitely like your classical megalomaniac type of villain.
Right, he's gonna say crazy shit. Where this isn't a marriage story or some shit. This isn't Shakespeare. This is
also rumor mill, but I guess not even a rumor mill anymore. Nicolas Cage getting
live
action Spider-Man Noir film that might not have anything to do with the MCU, which means it's going to be bad, because Sony does not like making good movies. They just don't. I watched Madam Web and I was like, yo, someone greenlit this. Someone greenlit this and said, take it to press, get it out there now. They're gonna love it.
I can't explain that movie, and I'm not trying to defend Sony, but I will say I do think a good movie or series about Spider-Man Noir would be really good.
Yeah, wait, say that again.
I think it could be good depending on who works on it, obviously.
Yeah, obviously there's an opportunity for anything to be good. And thankfully Sony they shelved or reshot or whatever the new term is, Craven. So maybe this will teach them like, hey, people actually want to enjoy these movies you're putting out.
So to a greater extent, Sony has to listen to that. To a lesser extent, Marvel does, because Marvel for a while didn't think they needed quality control either.
No.
And so they put out a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
And once again, like Kevin Feige claims, he's like, I understand quality isn't good. I'm going to get on quality. I haven't, but from what I hear that he's putting out, doesn't look like quality is happening.
No, a lot of this shit, man, just dump it on Disney Plus and bolster the subscriptions that way. Matt, yes, we did talk about X-Men 97 finale, and it was amazing. Can't believe The Rock hasn't.
I can't believe The Rock hasn't been canceled. What about? Why would he be canceled?
Oh man, he's said a few things, man, that have really triggered a lot of people. Recently, his reluctance to publicly endorse Joe Biden like he did the first time. That's all he said. He's like, at this time, I'm not publicly ready to endorse him, and he didn't publicly denounce him either. He just said, I'm not publicly ready to, endorse him. Rightfully fucking so.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. What a hero. What a Chad. Matt wants to know if we liked X-Men 97. We talked about it at the beginning of the show, and we loved it. We both loved it. We went on for a while, actually, about it.
Yeah, loved it.
But I'm saying, like, I don't even believe in cancel culture. I should be able to say whatever the fuck I want.
It doesn't work anymore. Kanye West defeated cancel culture, and that was the biggest public L that anyone could take in that regards, man. Last rumor, man. Well, not even so much a rumor. Some leak pics, first looks at the Marvel adaptation of Suicide Squad, aka the Thunderbolts, Bucky and the White Widow. You amped up about this at all, or what's going on over?
So here's what it is. I actually love the character of the Sentry.
Right.
And from what I hear, the rumors are, it sounds like he's not really the Sentry. It really sounds like they're made their own character and their own thing.
Yeah, Sentry's a hard character to not get right. All you got to do is get a psychopath version of Superman.
Right. And so you pointed out that they keep hiring these twinks who have no muscle to play him. So that's the first thing. You're like, weird. And so I hear, what I found out is like they're casting multiple Sentries, and he's going to have multiple personality disorder. Now, it's true. Sentry has two personalities, Sentry and the Void. Right. But they're going to have multiple ones inside him. It's almost like they're plagiarizing from themselves, Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And they have different actors playing them. And
Bro.
like, just chill, man.
One of the most difficult characters to get wrong, right? He's a Superman knockoff with a great backstory. He's one of 4 Superman knockoffs in Marvel. So you have Gladiator,
a lot of them. Yeah, Marvel stays
Hyperion, Blue Marvel, and the Sentry, right?
Right. Yeah.
All easy characters to get right because they all have great backstories. Gladiator's prowess is based on his confidence. So fucking easy to get that shit right? Hyperion is literally Superman.
Even his story, his story, like his actual story, like he's from another dimension, and his family sent him to this dimension to escape. Like it's like he's a Superman in every way.
Blue Marvel, yet another great story, man. A great story about a hero that was forced to cover up. That shit sells itself. Nick Fury finds the file. It's amazing, right?
I really wish that he was the what is it? The astro engineer. Should have appeared in WandaVision. That would have been amazing.
And when it comes down to the Sentry, man, and they almost got this right in freaking the now defunct Eternals. What's homeboy's name? Icarus, right? There were moments where I watched that film where Icarus, when he's turning bad, I'm like, man, I could see how they could get the Sentry right. But we don't need a complicated Sentry. What we need is a guy that was supposed to be the replacement for Captain America, got a more juiced up serum, and now he's a brutal fucking murderer because sometimes he blacks out and turns into the Void.
Right.
That's so simple to do, man. I want to see fast moving scenes of him ripping people in half. Right. I want to see him grab speedsters mid-run and snap their legs.
I would hire, if I was Kevin Feige right now, just on what you said the last 2 minutes, I would hire you as director.
Bro, I'd make Kevin Feige so much. I would just literally walk in there and like, sit down and shut the fuck up and let me get this shit right. Let me land it for you. And I have an OnlyFans. Wait, what?
Here's the thing about X-Men 97, what it reveals, and I love this. X-Men 97 shows you that when someone actually reads the comics and is a fan of them, they do better at producing the thing, right?
And
what's crazy is Kevin Feige got famous and made it from that. He was the low-ranking producer who was getting coffee for people. He was an associate producer, the scum of the earth. And yet somehow, because he was a comic book fan, he knew enough to rise in the ranks and becomes the king of Marvel. And now he brags about hiring people who know nothing about the products.
And who don't care about it. And you put people in position who say things like, it's a red flag for us when someone brings up things like source material. Yeah, man. I'm not excited for this movie, but maybe they can do something to surprise me, man. And I'll say this in closing. And this is it, man. At the end of the day, the Sentry, man, when we went to go see Black Adam, that's what I want to see from the Sentry, man. I want to see it. In fact, this story is so easy to write, man. The Thunderbolts should be centered around stopping the reemergence of Hyperion and then them all being brutally murdered by Sentry. Imagine this story, if you will. They find out that there was another super soldier. They put this ragtag team together because they can't send the Avengers on a kill mission, right? They give us the backstory as the movie progresses on how the Century came to be. We can even have some MCU version of how they wipe out everyone's memory and all that shit with old school radio waves. And then when this ragtag bullshit team that could only be formed together for one reason, like the Suicide Squad should have been, to absolutely be destroyed by the person they're sent after. That's the only way these storylines work, my brother. Suicide Squad and Thunderbolts. There's no way that I believe that the Suicide Squad should accomplish any mission against a alpha level villain. Same thing with the Thunderbolts, man. We send them in so you can see how powerful this character is, right? And what makes it works is you got a couple of world-class assassins. Yes, that was a throwback to Avengers. You got a fucking weird burnt chick running around that can mimic the movements of other people, and potentially the Red Hulk. Tell me you wouldn't like to see the Century body the Red Hulk. Wouldn't that be fucking great? Like, wouldn't that be fucking amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing? And that's the movie. And you send people out going, man, that was a great, fun, dark ride, man, because the Century ripped a god in half in Siege, right? He's the only thing that Loki's terrified of. I don't want to see some weird, maladjusted version of him, man. I say that. I rest. I put my dick on the table when I rest. At any rate,
I love it. I love it. Do you love it?
I do.
This looks like this was an amazing episode of the Fanboy Modeling School. Steve, thank you for that last rant. Love it.
Yes, rant. So we're all for it, man. Where can the people catch up with you this week, my brother?
Yo, this week I am going to be on Riz Radio, my home, over on Live 365 or wherever any internet radio can be found. And I'm going to be between noon and 4 p.m. bringing you the hits. That's what's happening.
Oh, did you see your boy Drake tapped out?
What happened?
Oh, he put up a post of a samurai in front of like an entire army. And he said, now on to the summer vibes, something to that effect, saying, you know, basically acknowledging that it's over.
What a fucking coward bitch. What a pathetic lowlife beta weekend, the G word, pathetic way to go. He's just like, I'm moving on. Too rich for my blood.
Actually, do you want to close with someone who has their ear to the street in regard to the Drake and Kendrick beef? And he's going to say some things that there aren't people here present that need to hear it. But I think he actually surmised it really well. I can get it to you in 1 second. Give me. Because it is a really good point. And it was what we were talking about last week in regards to the social aspect of how people interact with Drake. Unfortunately, it is a Instagram clip, so I do apologize for that, my brother.
You stay on that damn shit.
It's TikTok for old people.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna front. I like my Instagram, but
I just said it to you in Discord. This really, really puts it in perspective. It really puts it in perspective. Oh, it's a YouTube clip. Oh, there you go.
It's a YouTube short, though. Okay.
This motherfucker's like, damn you,
you imperfect motherfucker. All right.
And while he's queuing that up, you can always find me on Live 365 Riz Radio, your home for independent radio with the music you love. Sunday nights and potentially Monday, and more Fanboy After Dark. We're gonna get it in. This is our closing segment.
In Drake's culture vulture ways and the way that he steals from the fucking culture.
What did he steal?
We not talking about how he said
all of you niggas, including nigga he's in a beef with. Nobody wanted to take that nigga on tour. Don't make me sit here and look like I'm dick riding. Go look at all the interviews. These niggas are saying,
yeah, I have to say this. This dude is always high strung, even when he doesn't need to be. Someone will be like, how do you feel about the color blue? And for some reason, he's screaming at the top of his lungs. He's going on.
Because I get where he's coming from, man. Everyone's trying to call Drake a culture vulture as if he's not black. But this is the strangest fucking weird shit that's happening, man. And motherfuckers are, I'm telling you, man, they're trying to put a chokehold on every part of blackness. And these motherfuckers, like, it's
You're
crazy.
right. I need to fight against this stuff because he's, Drake's a fellow mulatto. However, I will say, Although you told me Drake's father, he's not actually rich.
No.
Even I
It's
don't know. He seems like a rich kid. I don't know.
Yo, if it wasn't for homie, if it wasn't for him, I don't even know what. Yo, salute to the. Don't make me say it. These niggas said it. Kendrick thank this nigga. Rocky thank this nigga. The Weeknd thank this nigga. Rick Ross thank this nigga. Now he don't write his rhymes. Kanye said, yo, he wrote all my shit. I wish I could have that nigga write all my records. Well, your Lord and Savior, Kanye. Your Lord and Savior. All of a sudden, I gotta sit here. No, I'm talking now. All of a sudden, I gotta sit here and look like I'm some OVO, dick riding, Drake caping nigga when I'm just presenting the facts. He helped each and every one of these niggas. You would have never knew who the fuck the Migos was if Drake didn't remix Versace.
What? Oh my God, bro.
What?
Kendrick is addressing Drake's culture vulture ways and the way that he steals from the fucking culture.
What did he
We
steal?
not talking about how he said.
You know how you shut a dummy like that up? I want her to point out what culture he's stealing from. Is she referring to the subculture of hip hop? Y'all invited him in, man. Y'all invited him in. Stop this light-skinned hating bullshit. Drake is a culture vulture bullshit. Because you know how many fucking Yankee, and that's what they call you, Yankee American rappers have done dancehall songs where they try to sound like they're fucking doing dancehall? Is that not culture vulture shit? Are you not impersonating another culture? The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here, man.
Whoa, that ending was nuts, man.
Good night, y'all.
It's the Fanboy Modeling School. Tune in this week to Riz Radio, and we will see you next week. Any final thoughts, brother?
Nah, not at all. Happy to do this show, man. Favorite day of the week.
Peace.